Section 3.9, Modeling Variation, Modeling Using Variation. And in this section, we're going to learn how to set up and solve three types of variation problems: direct variation, inverse variation, and joint variation. So all variation problems sound and are set up the same way. So you're told what kind of variation you're working with. You're given values for x and y that allow you to solve for a constant called k, the constant of variation. You solve for k, put it back into the formula, and then answer whatever question you're asked. So you'll see after we do a few of these that they all have the exact same format. So here is the definition of direct variation. If y varies directly as x to some power, then y equals k times x to that power. So for example, here's one. Y varies directly as a cube of x. If y is 25 when x is 2, find y when x is 6. So again, there's always going to be three pieces. You're always going to be told the variation, and then you write down that variation formula. So the variation formula for direct variation: y varies directly as a cube of x. Y is equal to k times the cube of x. Next, you're going to be given values for x and y that allow you to solve for k. When y is 25 and x is 2. All right, so we're going to put those in. We're going to put in a 25 for y. We're going to put in a 2 for x. So 2 cubed times k. In other words, 25 is equal to 8 times k, and so 25/8 is equal to k. You solve for k, you put it in the variation formula, and answer the question. So we just found out that k is equal to 25/8. So we're just going to start back at the variation formula. Y is equal to 25/8 x cubed, and now we're going to answer the question. The question says, find y when x is 6. So I'm going to put a 6 in for x, and that's going to give us y. So y is equal to 25/8 times 6 cubed. So that means we have to find a calculator. I have a calculator here somewhere. Here it is. All right. So 6 cubed is the same as, let's try that again, 6 cubed is the same as 216. And it would be nice if this came out without being too ugly. It does. So y turns out to be 675. Let's try another one. Y varies directly as the square of x. That means y is equal to k times x squared. That's a direct variation, just multiply by k. Next, we're going to be given two numbers to help us find k. Y is 24 when x is 3. So 24 is equal to k times 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9. So 24/9 is equal to k. Now we go back and we put that into the variation problem. Y is equal to 24/9 x squared, and now we're going to answer the question. Find y when x is 4. So I'm going to put a 4 in for x. So y would be equal to 24/9 times 4 squared, which is 16. And again, we'll work this out. Well, fingers crossed that it comes out nicely like the last one, but if not, it'll just be a fraction, no big deal. Yeah, not nice. So this comes out to be 42 2/3, which you could change back into an improper fraction. Maybe I should do that. 42 times 3 plus 2. In other words, 128/3. So that's direct variation. Here's one for you to try. y varies directly as the square root of x. So let me help you get started. Y varies directly as the square root of x. So next, put in your x and y to find k, and then answer the question. If you've got that down and that process down, then direct variation is exactly the same as inverse variation, and joint variation is done exactly the same way as well. So inverse variation, if y varies inversely as a power of x, then y is equal to k over x to that power. So here's an example. Y varies inversely as a cube of x, so automatically I'm going to write y is equal to k over the cube of x. And just like before, they're going to give us two numbers to enable us to solve for k. If y is 25 when x is 2, so for y I'm going to put a 25, and for x I'm going to put a 2, and 2 cubed would be 8. Now to solve this, I would multiply both sides by 8, and so I would have 200 is equal to k. I go back to my statement of variation, and all I do is replace k with 200. So I have y is equal to 200 over x cubed. And now I'm going to be asked a question, which I can now answer using my formula. Find y when x is 6. So y is going to be 200 over 6 cubed, and 6 cubed is 216. See how they're all exactly the same? Okay, let's try another one. Y varies inversely as the square of x. Y is equal to k over the square of x. Now we're going to find k. If y is 8 when x is 3, so I'm going to put a 3 here, and 3 squared is 9. Multiply both sides by 9, and we have 72 is equal to k. We go back, and all we do here is plug in the value for k that we just found. Okay, so we have y is equal to 72 over x squared. All right, so now we'll answer the question. Find find y when x is 4. So y is going to be equal to 72 over 4 squared, which is 16. And 72 divided by 16 is 4.5. So y is equal to 4.5, or in other words, 4.5. Or if you wanted to, you can change that into a fraction, an improper fraction. So here's one to try. Y varies inversely as x. Let me help you get started. This would translate to y is equal to k over x. So go ahead and give this one a try.